I think all the speakers can turn on their videos and we'll just start. People will keep joining in. I would request only the speakers shall turn on their videos. Alan hasn't joined yet. Alan Kimambo. Okay.
What about Salini? She is joining or joining?
Shalini is not. Oh, she has just joined. She has just joined. She's here.
Hello, hi Salini.
Yeah. That's a surprise. She's joining today.
Great.
Welcome, Shalini. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Shakti, and hi, everyone. Hello, sir, Pradeep, sir, Balaji, Pankaji, Jayashri ji. Thank you so much for joining, and it's an honor to listen to you all today. The topic is very much concerned to the top leadership, how to convert waste to wealth. And we are all ears to today, listening to your expertise. Thank you.
Thanks, Shalini. And now we are starting with the webinar. I'm still waiting for Alan to join, but I'm sure he'll be joining in a few minutes. So we shall start now. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I, Surti Singhal, welcome you all on behalf of International Council for Circular Economy. Today, we are here to host the third session of our webinar series, Transforming India's Infrastructure, with our experts joining us from varied industry sectors. This webinar series is aimed to bring together innovative processes, ideas, solutions, and dissemination of knowledge at a mass level. We are conducting this webinar series in collaboration with PM Gati Shakti Center of Excellence in Logistics and Supply Chain Management, School of Management, Doon University. I would request everyone to keep on mute and only use the chat box for any communication so that the webinar runs smoothly. In our last webinar, we talked about the role of technology in circular economy and how novel and indigenous innovations are running the show and giving us hope for a better and sustainable future. Today, the topic of our discussion will be from waste to value. How can we turn waste into a valuable resource to create a circular economy? Let me inform you of a special day today. 29th September is marked as the International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. It is an opportunity to raise awareness of the issue of food loss and waste and to promote actions to reduce it. Food loss and waste is a major global problem. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, about 1/3 of all food produced for human consumption is lost or wasted each year. This amounts to about 1.3 billion tons of food, worth approximately $1 trillion. So I urge all the attendees to be mindful when you buy, consume, prepare, or discard your food. Always remember, there are millions who are not lucky enough to get a meal per day. Now let's move on to the agenda of today's meeting. Before we start, I would like to welcome the speakers of today's session and introduce them to you. Today we have with us Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi, Head Corporate Sustainability, Larsen & Toubro. Dr. Pradeep is an ESG and sustainability veteran with over 28 years of experience. He is recipient of several awards, including Mahindra Innovation Awards for innovations around circular economy. Dr. Panigrahi has been a speaker at various prestigious national and international institutes. His work on zero waste to landfill through circular approach has been published by Ivy Business School, Canada, and Harvard Business School, Boston. Thanks for joining us from Mumbai, Dr. Pradeep. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Then we have...
Great to be part of this webinar.
Thank you, sir. Then we have Mr. P.M. Balaji, VP Supply Chain Management, Toshiba Plant Systems and Services, Japan. Mr. Balaji carries 27 years of experience in end-to-end procurement and supply chain management and project management. He is a mechanical engineer, having worked with reputed companies like L&T, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, BGR Boilers, Hitachi, and Toshiba for long terms in various sectors like steel, water, gas, power, and and chemical and refineries. I'm sure he can bring his expertise on circularity in supply chain management to the table today. Mr. Balaji, thanks for joining us from Vishakhapatnam. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Surabhi, and good evening to all my co-panel members, Shalini, and also the interesting audience. Hope we try to actually live up to the situation of today. So
Sure, sir, sure.
let us
And
discuss.
thank you, sir. Now, our next speaker of the day is Ms. Padma Shri Balaram. She is a climate activist and she is creating she has helped develop biogas plants and leaf decomposers across the city to process ward-level wet waste. She has been awarded by German government for the Better Together Award. She conducts workshops on segregation, sustainable menstruation, and decentralization of waste. Her sustained effort in managing waste in Madiwala market has saved many tons of vegetables and fruits going to the landfill. The process is being replicated across Bangalore. What can be a better day than today to talk about the food and wet waste to create awareness? Thanks and welcome, ma'am. Our fourth speaker is joining us from Tanzania, Alan Kimambo. Alan is the co-founder and CEO of Gati Recyclers. He is a chemical engineer and environmentalist and a social entrepreneur who saw the opportunity in creating employment by solving solid waste challenges in Africa. On the Zero Waste in Zanzibar project, he collaborated with the government to conduct baseline surveys on the waste situation in Zanzibar, proposed recommendations, and developed circular economy and EPR training materials. He trained more than 500 university students on Tanga project, where they calculated a per capita generation and assessed the willingness to pay garbage fees. Alan piloted a waste pickers registration and survey questionnaire project and established waste collection centers in 11 regions in Tanzania. He and his team brought the first digital platform, Zaidi app, in Tanzania that facilitates community recycling and waste management. Welcome, Alan, to the webinar. I hope Alan is here. Okay. Let us start with a question and answer session. I'm sure Alan will be joining soon. So my first question to Dr. Pradeep Panigrahi. Now, sir, with your extensive experience in ESG and sustainability across diverse industries, what key insights or strategies have you found to be universally applicable when it comes to transforming waste into valuable resources?
Right. Thank you again, Surabhi and Shalini and everyone. Balaji, good to know that you're ex-LNT. So, when did you work here? I think you're on mute. So, we can connect later. You're on mute, so no worries. Thanks, Surabhi. I think it's a great question. You know, someone long back, one of my professor told me, almost 35 years back, that waste is nothing but a misplaced resource. Right. And now we have realized, we have been realizing rather, there is an article 2 days back which says that there is huge amount of value from waste. I think Indian government is also giving big push. Plus, there has been a lot of discussion around how much of value we can gather from circular economy. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation clearly says that something like 250 billion USD by 2030 or 450 billion USD by 2050 and all. So all those numbers are there, but unless you convert those, the numbers into practice, it will be just a research paper, right? What is important to understand that in each area of our work, we must focus on how we can convert waste to value. I'll give you a couple of examples. So one of my case study is now a Harvard case study, as you have rightly said. In fact, we started some 7, 8 years back something called a zero waste to landfill project. And when we started, there were a lot of resistance, skepticism, you can say. But when we said that no, we will convert one plant into zero waste to landfill, initially with all those resistance, we started working together. We started, dialogue, discussions. But what happened after that? They really understood that the team really understood that there is a lot of value out of this. They ran almost 20 different pilots. Those people, I'm not naming the plant or the company anything here, okay, because I'm not supposed to share all those details. You can go to the web case study and you can read that. But so there are 20 pilots of on different type of waste, including hazardous waste, non-hazardous waste, everything. you know at the end of 1.5 years, that plant became the first zero waste to landfill certified plant in India and second in the world. It was purely on circular economy principles, and that is how it became the Harvard case study. Now, see, I have realized this in my 30 years, almost 30 years of work in corporates, that each and every type of waste can be converted or reused, recycled to make something valuable for the company. And when you're in a corporate, value addition makes a lot of difference. So this particular project gave a value of, for example, something like 15 crores when the investment was around 1 crore, right? Similarly, here in Larsen and Toubro, we are using 24% of our materials, raw materials comes from either recycled or non-virgin sources, right? So, today there are a lot of possibilities of converting a different type of waste material as raw materials. So these are a couple of examples, and it is you see what is universally applicable is that you have to just find out in your domain area, in your area of influence, you have to just find out what are the waste materials which can be converted as a resource, and that requires a lot of hard work, that requires a lot of planning, that requires a lot of perseverance, and then converting your plan into action. Simply talking, simply writing a research paper, simply writing a book doesn't solve the problem. So you have to convert your planning, your idea into plan, and then plan to action. I think that is what is required, and then the value is there. I mean, I have seen it in my career that absolutely it is possible to convert any type of waste into valuable resource, right? So anyway, we'll discuss again, but I stay here, and maybe we can discuss it subsequently. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thanks for giving the example, which is an eye opener. The way that you have explained how a small investment has converted into 15 crores. So there is definitely value to the the waste that we understand, and if intention is there, definitely that can be done. Now, my next question is to Ms. Padmashri Balaram. Now, ma'am, your work in waste management and sustainability at the community level is truly inspiring. Could you tell us about a specific turning point or project that ignited your passion for addressing waste issues and battling the climate crisis?
Hi, and welcome and good evening all on the panel. Uh, I don't think there was any one event or one incident, but there were a lot of events that just happened to come, back to back. And I think the one that really got me going was my daughter's wheezing. And we tried several doctors and nothing was working. So there was a senior gentleman living near my house, and he just asked me if she starts wheezing towards the evening. I said, yeah, she starts wheezing towards the evening. Then he said, there are some leaves burning in the neighborhood. Probably there's a burning, some burning is happening, he said. He didn't say leaves. He said, there's some burning happening. Why don't you just go and tell them to not burn? Maybe that will reduce. So that's how it started. And then I just took a stroll and I found that is exactly what was happening. There was a construction going on, and that people had collected all the leaves. And inside that, there was a whole bunch of chips packets and pan parag and everything, and they'd set the whole thing on fire. It just, I think something in that really shook me and said, okay, this is not the way things should be happening. I didn't know what to do and how to go ahead with that. But I think that is what really got me moving seriously. And then, of course, there were a few smaller events where my little grandnephew was just 2 years old, and he said, I know I have reached your house when there's that huge garbage dump near your house. Then I know your house is next to that. That didn't sound very nice either. And so there were multiple small events which got me going and said, okay, I need to do something about this. Not because I would thought that it's going to create some big, pathway or something. It was just to keep my own street clean and my own leaves to not be burning. So it was at a very, very local, hyper local, you can say, level. That's how I started. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great start indeed, ma'am. And actually, we all should see our surroundings and try to bring in anything that we can at our levels. That's a great beginning that you did. So now my next question is to Mr. Balaji. Now, Mr. Balaji, with your extensive experience in procurement and supply chain management, how do you see the role of supply chains evolving in the context of a circular economy, particularly in minimizing waste and maximizing resource efficiency?
Okay, Surabhi, good evening. Again, good evening once again to Padma Shri Madam, Mr. Pradeep, and Alan is not yet joined, I believe. I think I don't see him. Has he joined or not? Okay, Alan. Yeah, okay, Alan. Good evening. I don't know what's the time at Tanzania now, right now. Okay. So, and also all the enthusiastic audience, once again, I just wanted to just share, my role as a vice president of the supply chain management and business development at Toshiba, Japan. And also, I'm also an independent director at BEX in Philippines. So both are actually a dynamic and strategic kind of roles where I'm responsible for providing leadership in optimizing the supply chain, then managing the global operations, and also in the process, we encounter a lot of risk. We need to mitigate the risk and to lead, and you need to capitalize for a new business opportunities. That's how. And try to expand the Toshiba's market presence in terms of revenue growth and strategic partnerships. And the tagline of our company Toshiba, it's leading innovation. So that's the prime importance. So my decisions on this leadership have got a direct impact on the company's ability to be highly competitive in this tech industry. Now, Surabhi rightly pointed out by you, about the circular economy coming or aligning with supply chain management, or in a way, supply chain management actually has a more vital role in the circular economy. Supply chain management doesn't, limit to industries. That's the kind of myth people have. It's across, the globe, everywhere, every nook and corner, in every business domain. Even including in you can just go into our kitchen. Where our the moms or the wives actually they manage. They do a bit of inventory management over there. How they try to manage with the what is it, the groceries or the consumption of our LPG, the gas, cooking gas, and all that. So supply chain management is not. So it's actually a kind of a mantra over there. So now I can just tell you that with the increasing emphasis of the sustainability and this environmental consciousness, like what Mr. Pradeep and even the madam actually had a live example from her personal, from the daughter. She could get that. Actually, in this context, I can tell you that we need to see about the waste reduction. See, I had been to many countries and I've been working in different parts where I encountered about the waste management. But when I had been in Japan for a long time, I could see that I was surprised that actually they actually the concept is not to waste, not to generate waste in the first place. So I just surprised how is that? I mean, we are doing about talking about a lot about waste management and trying to look at circular economy and all that, but they actually primarily they actually are not into. I mean, they see how actually waste is generated. It's not generated. We need to reduce the generation of waste. So that's a kind of concept they are following. And in this, I can say, Surabhi, and to all the panel members and my the enthusiastic audience, is that I can have a 4 point on the supply chain coming into picture, playing a pivotal role in the circular economy, the philosophy. Like one is the reverse logistics. I don't know how many of you are acquainted with this kind of term, and I'll just brief on that. Then second one is about the product design for sustainability. Sustainability has become now the buzzword across the globe, like sustainability. And then the third one is about the closed loop supply chain. It's not. Earlier it is conventional was open loop, but then today it's all closed loop, like. And then collaborative networks. So these are actually, I can say, these are four kind of thing where I start with the reverse logistics. Reverse logistics, I think, is now even reached out to our home also. Like, I mean, you can see many times we return our, the package which is come in a damaged condition or is not working exactly to the desired level and all that. So now that has become, a kind of, I would say, concern. Like, so the company is actually taking it back and they try to refurbish and again, send it to another buyer, or again do a kind of recycling process and all that they're doing in this I mean, what is it, the reverse logistics. And so that even they try to see the life cycle going back into again rebirth kind of thing, like. So that's about the reverse logistics. And a classic example is Amazon, which we get on a day-to-day basis, or the Flipkart, wherein we return the goods which is not there. Then even those companies are looking into how to refurbish and recycle the products before the end of the life cycle. And the second point which I was mentioning was on the product design. See, now actually now people are looking at sustainable product design. They're not just limiting that. The design earlier was only to keep up to kind of saving on the cost and all that. Now they are looking at, but now they're like trying to look at the design. They try to design or create a product so that they are easier to recycle or repurpose. Like that's the kind of a main intention which the design department is really now R&D is looking at. Like, so they are trying to use materials which are actually more environmental friendly. It's not I mean, not just consumption or anything. They're looking at that that level, so that in the sustainability, the product design may plays a pivotal role. Like, because how it is designed, as per that, the waste is generated, and that waste we are able to utilize it back into the process. Fine. Otherwise, it's no, it is not a worth. Like, so you can say waste to worth or waste to the value is how the design. So they try to do a sustainable design. That's the second portion which I would like to tell. And third one is the closed loop supply chain. See, like now what we are, I mean, kind of discussing is that everything is on open loop, where the waste, I mean, whatever we do, maybe in the production or anything, and then again the waste is there. It is going to the landfill or anything. Like, it's not actually coming back, or I mean, it's not adding any value. So here, when you use this closed loop kind of concept, where you establish systems, the product and materials are used again, reused or recycled with the same supply chain philosophy, it betters. Like, so there's actually, you're trying to close a loop. I can, I would like to justify or kind of support my statement with a small PowerPoint slide is there. One or two I would like to just pick up with the permission of the Survi and the. Am I audible?
You are audible, sir.
Yeah. Can I? I would like to. just present one two slide just in support of my this statement, right?
Okay, sir. It just has to be just
Yeah,
few
yeah.
minutes.
And before that, I would like to tell examples how about this reverse plastic or recycle and all that. Tesla. I mean, the Tesla is actually using recycled materials in its batteries in vehicles. I mean, that's the buzzword today. And Elon Musk is investing into that. It is kind of a take back program for all the used batteries. So they're trying to definitely add value to the almost the dead material kind of thing. Then another example I can state is IKEA. I think an IKEA, a Swedish company. I think that is the world's largest furniture retailer. And they are trying to design the furniture in such a way it's easy to disassemble or erasable, so that it has got a take back program for the used furniture. Even they do that. Some furniture is kind of used for a year or so, a couple of years, and then they're ready. They're ready to pick it up, take it back, and so that they try to do a bit of refurbishment and again place it in the stores or send it to a new seller. So in this process, and sometimes for the charity, they even donate those kind of used, no, in a good condition to the needy people. So that's actually how IKEA does. And another I can talk about is Hans and Moritz, the Sweden company, H&M. That's the largest clothing company in the world. So this company actually is follows a kind of collection program, wherein customers are kind of advised or requested to return the used clothing for recycling. So whenever we feel that okay, the usage of the cloth is done, and we feel that okay, no more we are going to wear it, then you can opt to this kind of what is advice from H&M, that you can return those clothings. You can just dump it at a kind of point where they address, and then that company actually uses this recycled materials in their clothing for the further new thing. And then the last actually I can tell about the one important company which plays what is a prominent role, Philips. Philips is a Netherlands company, and actually they sell lighting products as service generally. It's not that they're just selling you the bulb. What they do is that as a service they try to only sell the lighting products, in which the customers will only pay for the light rather than owning the product. So anytime the product gets a kind of completely damaged or something, they're ready to take it back, refurbish, and again give it back to us, or because they own that now. See, they are the owner of that particular thing. We are only going to pay, like how you can see the substations, they are owned by the the state government or central government kind of thing. We are not owning the substations. We are only using the power for our consumption. What you say? So here, for the consumption, we are going to pay. Rest all is taken care by them. And any kind of we have some hitch or anything, we call upon the technician, they repair it, and the transformers, anything, whatever is set up like. So in the same manner, everybody is looking at to suffice this kind of requirement to take it about the usage of technologies and even collaborative building partnerships. So it's not just limiting. So supply chain plays a vital role in the in the circular economy and economy.
Sure.
Yeah, that's
Definitely. Sure.
Yes.
So we actually have a question in the chat box from an audience. So I think whosoever can take this question, this is about product design. So the person is asking, product design paradigms like DFD, DFR, etc., are not taught in academia. So how is the industry tackling this gap? So anybody who would like to answer, any of the speakers can take up this question.
Let me just look into the chat box.
It's about product design. Maybe
Yeah.
Alan can also try.
The question to PM Balaji is written.
Yeah, it's okay, fine. So I'll answer this. I think I've seen this, the product design from some portion. Okay, so design paradigm like DFD, DFR, actually, they should be taught. They should be taught. You rightly mentioned some portion. I don't know whether it's the name of the firm or the individual. Some portion, it's kind of thing that you have to in the circular supply chain. One important aspect which I was mentioning is product design, and definitely this has to be a part of the curriculum. I mean, wherein people try to understand that, the design aspects, how it plays a vital role. Because if it is designed like earlier conventional, I was mentioning that, you go in the conventional method, the design aspects, no, doesn't take care of the wastage, like how wastage is generated and how it can be really recycled or, reused or can be refurbished. Now, design is made such a kind of thing where even sustainable sourcing, I know I want to even talk about that also. Even, while considering the design itself, they're trying to look at how to the raw materials play an important role, because design is one portion, but then again, source of raw material and raw material is converted into finished products is where it the final our what is say the product comes into picture, like. So here the design plays a, very important aspect, and this has to be taught to everybody in the it has to be part of the curriculum, so that people get a lot of knowledge enhancement to understand the importance of the design, and so that thereby we try to see how we can minimize waste, or how at least that waste thing which is generated out of the design defect and all that could be recycled into back into some worth or some value. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Balaji. And definitely, the topics, those are relevant to circularity. They should be added into the academics. And think tanks like us, we are all bringing everybody together, like academia, industry, and I'm sure within a few more, years, we shall see some changes in the Indian circularity context. So
Yeah,
now
just
my next
to
question.
sorry, sorry, Surabhi, just to supplement, some portion. One more thing is to take into aspect is that, no, the syncing of this industry with the academia. So academia is not just books. So what the kids or next generation, they need to be taken to the industry live. They understand actually what they're designing and how it works. I can just tell an example of one. During my L&T days, the person who was, kind of designing about crane or anything, could not understand how it actually works on the ground at the project site. He was, designing that kind, but he was not able to. So once we brought that guy as a kind of visit to the site, project site, when he saw, he was shocked, like, oh, this big is the equipment which I designed, and how this works. This really works, like. So he was looking like a Transformers, I mean, how this movie Transformers in that kind. He was just shocked, and was kind of a thing. So this actually happens. So once in a while, if the kids or the students are brought to the field, and make them look at the actual thing happening, they can relate it very well, and then they can take it forward. Yeah, thank you.
Definitely. Theory has to be, provided, there has to be provided some, expression of practicality also. So the kids should get the practical experience as well. Well said, Mr. Balaji. Now, my next question is to Alan. Now, Alan, you have been working in Tanzania. You likely encountered unique challenges and opportunities in recycling and waste management. Could you share some of the specific challenges your organization faces and the innovative solutions you have developed to address them?
Hello. Hi, how are you? Hello. Can you all hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, very much, Alan. You can hear you clear. You're walking, I believe.
Okay.
You're walking, or you're in wall or something.
Yes, I'm working. Actually, I'm in Rwanda currently, and providing a technology solution. Yeah. So thanks so much, and sorry for the delay, but I've been working in the sector for the past 7 years now, and actually we entered in this sector when we saw in Tanzania we are importing waste paper, the carton boxes, the OCC from outside the country to feed the industries which are here. So we said, oh, why we import while there are a lot of them in Tanzania? So we had now to go around to do a survey and understand their supply and the quality. And we told the customer, now we can supply this material to you, and they're given us the opportunity. And then we started supplying from 2016 until now. We're supplying the material, which is the OCC materials, to them. So that's the first time when we encountered with waste as value. waste as a resource and waste as something that can bring us an opportunity, create a company, employ, and even grow into other countries as well. So from that moment, we have been able to supply materials locally and even export materials to other countries like India. Not only waste paper, but we have even went on finding other type of waste to be able to create value. So now we are collecting plastic as raw material. We are collecting coconut shells to make carbonated charcoal. We are also collecting glass. We are also collecting the HP toner, genuine HP toner for remanufacturing in Dubai. And we are even integrated technology to our operations. And the technology we are also exporting it to other countries. And the technology supports people to be able to, sort their waste and request for pickup. And we, as a company, goes to pick the materials and we sell it to the recycling companies. The technology also incorporated informal waste pickers. Normally in Africa, there is no data for the informal waste pickers. Actually, in many countries, there is no data for the informal waste pickers. So now what we are doing, we are collecting, we are registering waste pickers in Tanzania and other parts of Africa. And we tell people, we tell the agents to now add the data that waste pickers are bringing to their collection points. And those data, we give out we give the city, tell them the impact to the waste pickers they have to the city. But again, through the data, we can even pay them digital, and the data can also support them with financial support and other insurance support and many other support that we are looking forward. So that is us as the Residing Recyclers, and with the foundation we have, which is called Nigeria Foundation. And currently I'm in Kigali, Rwanda, delivering the same solution to this country. And they are determined here in Rwanda, they're determined to register 100% of waste speakers in Rwanda, 100% of waste speakers here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan. That's a great initiative. Registering the waste pickers, the biggest informal sector, and here also in India, most of the waste pickers sector is informal and not regularized. We definitely need this to happen. That they should be registered, and there should be some regulations should come in India as well. Thank you, Alan. Thanks for your answer.
Thank you so much.
Next question will be to Dr. Pradeep. Now, sir, circular economy principles often involve complex organizational changes. Can you share an example of a particularly challenging but successful circular economy initiative you have been involved in during your career?
Absolutely. That's why I said in the beginning that reading a research paper or reading a book is very different from how you practice in the field and how actually you create value. So there are multiple challenges when you want to really implement circular economy in an organization. The first and foremost is you must have a clear cut plan. You must have a clear cut plan in the sense you must have a quantitative data to back up with the plan, and then you must also find out what are the ways and means to implement it. You also need financial support, right? You also need some kind of approval to implement it, and because many traditionally nobody sees waste as a valuable resource. Nobody sees. I mean, it's all over the world. Now it is because of the circular economy movement, it is coming to the forefront, and now people have started realizing the value. But traditionally, it is all take, make, dump, and just forget about it kind of thing. So the linear methods. So that is why pitching the idea to the management, getting their approval, implementing it, it takes huge amount of time and effort. But I think what is required is that if you're diligent enough, you can get the right data, analyze, make a plan, make a short-term and long-term, plan to how the value can be generated, and I give you the example of the Harvard case study where it was a very clear-cut plan. The clear-cut plan was made, but the challenges are like people will not support you. They will not like it. they will say, why this is an extra job, right? Many people think that why there is another extra job for me. This is not my part of my day-to-day activity. This is just like any additional job. I'm not getting paid for this. So all those kind of questions will come. They get excited and they start implementing or working on it. I'll give you a very simple example of how we could solve how we could solve a problem. There is something called CTP's laws, right? CTP's laws typically has a mix of oil and different kind of, different kind of chemicals, and it's a very complex kind of. But if you can really convert that, if you can really transform that, you can get oil from there. So while we were working on that, we realized that there was a startup who was keen on converting the CTP sludge into furnace oil, and then the rest of the things could be whatever, carbon black or something like that. So we engaged with them. They took the CTP sludge, converted it into carbon black and furnace oil. Now the carbon black and furnace oil both can be utilized. You can sell actually, right? And you can sell at a cheaper price, which is than the market price. Then you get the value. It's a very simple example. In another case, they wanted to make the CTP sludge into bricks. We said you make bricks and then mix some kind of cement and make bricks, and let's see whether you can utilize it. But then we realized that you cannot use it openly because there are CTP sludge hazardous waste. So then the question of where you can use it, you can use only in a closed place where there is no rainfall or there is no water. Then water doesn't fall on that and things like that. So these are the challenges. See, another challenge is that in the sites like C&D waste. Today we're talking about our organization like L&T, the huge amount of C&D waste. So how do you convert C&D waste into valuable resource? You see, in many places in our company, we're using plastic, for example, plastic for road making, then C&D waste are converted into in certain areas where you really require a landfilling, that is done. But in certain cases wherever there's cement can be extracted or cement can be reused, we use that. And wherever there are some testing they do in the laboratory, right? So those after the testing, the piece of material or the piece of concrete block becomes waste. But now people have started using that instead of just throwing it to the landfill, right? So I think what is important that is just what it requires is simple brainstorming. You just have to bring the workplace, associates, the contract workers, or they come out with fantastic ideas. So you need to involve them. You cannot say that, no, I'll sit in my nice, beautiful cabin and I'll do a plan and then I'll implement it. It doesn't happen like that. I think what Balaji make, you need to bring them to the meeting room and saying that, guys, these are the issues, and let us know what kind of solutions you can propose. So those guys, they come out with beautiful solutions. So what is important is that one part is your planning, designing, another part is getting the stakeholders into one place, brainstorming, and then making the solutions and then implementing it. Now, all this process requires, complete a good thinking process, then engagement process, and then implementation process. But you will find hurdles everywhere. It is quite common. You will not everything is not smooth. Everybody knows that. So but when you things are made, when you get something new, when you make a beautiful product out of waste, everybody appreciates it. So you have to understand that dynamic, and then you implement it. So today what is the circularity in globally? Circularity is around 7 to 9%, right? And in L&T we are 24% circular, right? So you have to also create that benchmark. What is my peers, what they're doing, what I am planning to do, how much I can push, what is my target, how I can take it forward. Okay. Another example I'll give. I hope there is time, right? So yeah. So see, around a year back, one team came back to me saying that, sir, we are mandated by a very big international customer that you need to have circular economy strategy for our projects and our products and our for entire EPC implementation. And it was like you are actually groping in the dark. You don't know what is happening, right? You don't know about the complexity of the project. Sometimes the complexities are very high. You have hundreds of different types of materials. You have the complexity in design is so much that it is very difficult to implement any new innovative things. So I said, okay, fine. Let's discuss about it. Let's find out a solution. 9 months, 1 year down the line, we presented it recently in Dubai, and we were highly appreciated. The team was highly appreciated by the client. It is international client with 1.5 billion USD of project size. So you can imagine the scale. But suppose people say no, it is very complex. We cannot work on it, and we cannot do anything. Then you lose the order, right? It's as simple as that. So the complexities will be there, but if you bring people on the table, you discuss and you find out solution, everything I think is possible. And today, what is also interesting that these things are becoming a regular practice now. So I think you guys at ICCE are doing commendable job in terms of raising awareness, in terms of making policy papers. I've read a couple of policy papers from Salini, and it's fantastic. I mean, that is how you push the awareness and the policy, and so that everybody implements it. So I mean, we just have to have the clear-cut understanding and plan, and then implement it. Then things will happen automatically. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thanks for your kind words for ICCE and Ms. Shalini as well. And definitely there are solutions right in front of us. We just have to take some risks and make some efforts. Everything comes to, everything works out well. So now there is a question that has come from Ayub Khan. He actually wants to know what is sanitary landfill and modern landfill. Can anyone of you answer this question?
I can, let me take it. Balaji, you can add it further. See, landfill, there are, normal landfill is what? You take the waste in your truck and then you dump it. That is a landfill, right? And that landfill creates huge amount of problem. Everybody knows that. We implemented long back, around 15 years back, we designed and implemented a landfill. We spent a good amount of money in that, almost 1 crore or so. And this engineering landfill was 7 layers of different materials, so that even if you dump the hazardous waste, there is no percolation to the groundwater. So it's an engineering landfill. Today, there are many TSDFs all across the country which are certified by Pollution Control Board. But when I'm talking about the time 15 years back, it was not a very popular thing, right? And it was TSDF was not there everywhere. So we designed it and we implemented it. So this landfill actually is good because no hazardous chemical and nothing goes to and percolates to the groundwater. And you test the groundwater on periodic basis, every month, every 2 months, 3 months, and then you look at the quality. So yeah, that's very simple difference. For engineering landfill, you have to spend money. For normal landfill, you just dump it, and that creates huge amount of problem on water, on the society. Like Padma Shri was mentioning about that, mentioning about the things that is happening in big cities. The newest nuisance that is being created. So through engineering landfill, you can actually avoid all those things, but it's very costly. So typically what happens today, most of the companies, they send their hazardous waste to engineering landfills or TSDFs, big engineering landfills, which are there all across the country. Okay. Yeah, and maybe
I hope that answers Ayub's query. Thank you, sir. And there is one more question, Pradeep sir, for you that has come up from Sampushan. The person wants to ask that standardization of materials is the need of the hour in construction industry to reduce C&D waste, which is known to everyone. So how far are we from that reality on ground? He wants to know from you.
On the ground, we are very close to the reality. At least I can talk about my company. You see, we do a lot of research in terms of we have got research centers all over the country. So we do a lot of research in terms of standardization of materials. Okay, so that takes care of like in a particular facilities, what kind of materials you require. Everybody knows that this kind of material, this kind of strength is required, and so they implement it. But on the ground, whether it is happening across India, across the country, I don't know. I'm not sure whether everybody is implementing the same thing. But see, today, where we are one of the most preferred EPC company, today you look at the biggest and tallest and longest, everything is being built by L&D, right? The tallest statue in the world, Sardar Patel statue, it is being built by L&D. The roads, railways, metros, everywhere. So it is mainly because of the standardization of materials, standardization of practices. So I think what is required is that if you want to excel, you have to standardize on the first thing that you do. Yes, so I think it is not very far from reality, but again, I cannot talk about this in different places across the country. So yeah, right.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the answer. And now my next question is to Ma'am Padma Shri ma'am. Now, ma'am, the recognition of your waste management initiative by the German government is a significant achievement. What were the key factors that made this initiative successful, and how can similar projects be replicated in other communities or the cities? And how does the decentralized model of processing fit into the circular economy?
Yeah, so unlike my esteemed panelists, I work in municipal solid waste, so I don't have much experience with other things. So when we started doing this whole waste management, it was not like a long, big vision that we wish to, we want to do this at the end of the day. But what started happening was there was a lot of organic growth. And when we said, like I told you, there was this dump behind my house. So how did we plan to clean it up? I was so thrilled that I cleaned it up one day, getting some auto person. The next day it was there again. So that I realized that cleaning a black spot is hardly the solution. There has to be something deeper to it. Find out what is the genesis of that waste that people are throwing. Then you go backwards and then you realize it's the segregation, collection, transportation. There are three very strong links. And if any one of them is weak, your waste management, it falls through the cracks. So what we did, a few of us in Koromangala, we are volunteers, we came together. We are a member of the Resident Welfare Association. And what we felt was, let's all get cracking with segregation. Let's first fix segregation at source, and then we will fix the C&T problem. The collection and transportation we will fix later. So we really cracked the whip on residents. We had several awareness programs. We had unbelievable number of workshops, and then it was like awareness everywhere. And then we actually managed to reach about 90% segregation in our ward. It's the ward. Koramangala is a ward. And uh, and then the collection became very good, because then the auto, he knew he would come, he would get segregated waste, whether it was dry or wet. And what we did was, we didn't pick up wet and dry on the same day, because what most people would say was, we are giving them segregated but they are mixing it. So what we did was, we say Wednesday and Saturday is the day we collect only recyclable waste, on the other days we pick up wet waste. So we started getting 4 to 5 tons of wet waste. And when I would see 4 to 5 tons of clean wet waste going into a compactor and going somewhere far away, was somehow not sitting well with me. It was making me uncomfortable. I said, we are doing such good work till this point, and then why are we failing here? So that is when, like you asked me, who are all the people who helped and what is it? So I think what we have done the best is, we have created wonderful collaborations. It is a collaborative effort, especially municipal solid waste is very collaborative effort. So we were citizenry. Then the Bangalore municipality was a little taken aback that how come the residents are, doing so much. But fortunately, I think we knew how to align ourselves with the municipality, not against them. It was not you versus us, it is you with us. So I think that is another thing that made this very successful. So the municipality started saying yes. So then we had a little bit of, not a little bit, we had 2 acres of land in Koramangala itself, which was meant for waste management, because there was a high tension wire running over it, so we couldn't have houses. So it was pushed. A little bit of waste management was happening there, but only with recyclables. It was a good center. But I think we all pushed, we all started doing survey, research. And then I knew for a fact that composting is not the solution at a large community scale if you're doing it decentralized. That means what will make this whole thing really fail is the NIMBY, what we call as the NIMBY phenomenon, that is not in my backyard. So everyone says, you take it somewhere far away, it's not, should be not in my backyard. So how do we reduce that? What is it that people feel most miserable about having a garbage bin near their place? It is the smell or the thought, the ickiness factor, as we call it. So how do we reduce the ickiness is definitely composting may not be the solution, is what I felt. I was very strong about that. And we then set out looking for a vendor who would set up anaerobic, who would give us an anaerobic solution, which is the biogas, CNG. So we found this person who was doing a great job, a very young entrepreneur. We called him on board and then started our real battle, because decentralized had never happened before. And so it was, like I said, everything was very organic. We had to lay the path and so you can imagine how strong our collaborations should have been. We were very strong and we all believed in that cause. Our local political representatives were extremely gracious, and they said, just do it, we will support you. Which is rare. I mean, and without their blessings, nothing happens. And then we set up, and I'll tell you another strange thing in any place probably. In Bangalore, the tender contract works against the decentralized system. It does. So the contract, if you're following the contract, you can't be doing decentralizing because it works against the contractor. But in this case, my contractor said, madam, you're trying something new. Let it go. I will do this for you. So that's why there are just so many people, that there's so many factors and forces that came together and made this possible. So it's called the Better Together Award. So it is for collaboration. So we all went to Germany, felicitated by the Minister for Environment and Forest. And they were like stunned. How can a resident with no authority, with no power, how come they can give you so much of? But I think I do give a big shout out to my local municipality for having allowed us to be a part of their system totally openly and transparently. So that's where I feel so many factors all just came together, and then success leads to more success. So you were asking about replication and other things. So in the same place where we were doing 5 tons, there was a couple of software companies that came in and said, hey, we'll give you some CSR. Will you scale it up? We said, yeah, sure. We have the space. We are ready to scale. So the funds came in and we scaled to 8.5 tons. And it is not easy to bring 8.5 tons of wet waste every day, day on day, to the center. But as a resident welfare association, we have some excellent volunteers. There's Neeraja in 6th block. There's so many. Just wield the whip and make sure everyone is giving the waste at the right time to the awful person and not throwing it anywhere. And that's how we started scaling up. And the best, we have saved 3,000 tons of carbon emissions this last year. And the two companies that gave us the CSR fundings are happy to take the carbon credits. We are happy to. So everything from waste, that's what I wanted to tell you. Every single thing from waste became value. One is we generated biogas, we generated fertilizer, and we generated carbon credits. So great value from waste. And talking about the recycling, the circular economy, I didn't know those words at that time when we did this long back. We have a restaurant which is running right next to our plant. So I discussed with the vendor and said, listen, why don't you just give your gas to them? And because we are running a sustainable model, self-sustaining model in Koromangala. So the municipality does not pay us uh, for the operational expenses. And I liked it like that because the vendor has to do well and earn himself and make it self-sustaining instead of waiting for the monthly payoff from the municipality, which will affect his running. So what they did was they spoke to the nearby restaurant next door, and the restaurant happily takes all our gas. And that restaurant is completely running only on the bio-CNG that is produced within our complex, our processing plant. And that's a great success story because they are also then developing their carbon credits because they have given away fossil fuels now. They are running entirely on bio-CNG. So we have ticked many sustainable goals, and we hope that we are replicating it actually. And we have one center. We have another biogas plant very close by. It's in a police quarters. So only the police quarters waste comes there. The biogas which is produced there is going to cook dog meat in the police dogs. The meat that they eat is being cooked with the same biogas that they have produced. So I cannot even imagine not looking at waste as anything but the most valuable resource, and it will be criminal to push it into a compactor and send it somewhere else.
That's wonderful to hear your story, ma'am, and it's truly inspiring. We need more of you, such citizens, those who are so responsible and committed to doing good to the society. So thanks a lot for joining us. And now I have few questions coming in the chat box. There is Sangeeta. She's asking that. Should there be a regulatory body for governing the waste to value market?
Yes.
Should there be governing the regulatory bodies for governing the waste to value market?
So there is. Can I take that question? Okay. So sometimes this whole recycling thing is becoming a bit of a, I don't know what, not the most preferred. You take an end of the life product, flog it more and make it into another end of the life product, in the meanwhile releasing god knows how much into the environment. So there should be it has to be very strictly governed. These pollution control boards have to take it very seriously as to what is it that can be sent for further recycling and what is it that should be stopped. And enough, you can't keep recycling this. You're just making it worse. You're just making it worse for the environment. Maybe you can keep making new products, but to what extent? I mean, that is something that we all have to ask ourselves. The next question says packaging converted into biogas.
Can compostable packaging materials be converted into biogas?
Okay, so I'll take that. Generally, biogas needs cooked food. It's vegetables and fruits are not a good source of biogas. So if I'm assuming that most of our the compostable packaging is done with fruits or some pulp of vegetables or leaves, so they are not a good source for bio-CNG. They are best, but I don't believe that there is any compostable packaging material. That somehow I'm not convinced at all that any packaging material is compostable at normal temperatures and conditions. It has to be sent to some faraway location, which is against the whole carbon footprint idea that we are trying to follow here. So compostable packaging material no, cannot be made.
Okay. And there's another question from Sky P. So the person is asking, any skilling for new entrepreneurs who can handhold with existing entrepreneurs can be expected from platform of ICCE. Now, because Shalini is here present, so I would like to give this question to Shalini. Please, Shalini, if you can answer this question for us.
Hello, are you referring the question to me?
Oh, I'm sorry. Shalini has left, I think. So yeah, that can be definitely done. For this, we can definitely connect on surbi@icce.com for this particular purpose. You can connect with me directly on my email ID. I'll be sharing my email ID directly in this chat box later on. For that, we can connect later on also, right? Now, my next question goes to PM Balaji. Now, sir, as a Six Sigma Black Belt holder, how can Six Sigma methodologies be integrated into waste reduction and circular economy initiatives within large organizations, and what benefits can they bring in terms of efficiency and sustainability?
Okay, first, actually, people have to understand what is Six Sigma. I mean, I don't know how far the audience have got that, no, because it actually is much beyond the regular usage, like, Six Sigma, though it is a buzzword across the industry. So just let me brief about Six Sigma. It is divided into actually, the philosophy into 5. It is called DMAIC. So DMAIC. So D stands for define, M stands for measure, A stands for analyze, I for improve, and C for control. So actually, this is a structured approach, which can be applied to identify, measure, analyze waste into various process, and also the main is on the process. It actually, attacks on the process, like process optimization. Very important is on the process optimization. So starting with, actually this concept, let me just go back that this was started by one gentleman, Bill Smith, in 1986 in Motorola. He was an employee of Motorola, and he actually, eventually brought out this kind of philosophy or concept of Six Sigma to actually reduce the wastage in the process, like, in the process. So that's what actually one gentleman asked about the product design. So here also this actually Six Sigma helps them in, kind of optimizing that kind of process, and to streamline the process and minimize the resource consumption and waste generation. So that's one important aspect. So now again, going back to DMAIC, that is define, measure, analyze, improve, control, Six Sigma. So where first actually what we look at is define the problem. So here everything is a problem. Like, what we do, waste management. Waste management is again, that's a big problem. So we are trying to, address that. So in the same manner here, what we understand is to define what exactly is the problem. What is the today's problem? Then go into measure. What is the magnitude of the problem? Like, so the magnitude, like, what is the size? I mean, how far it can affect, or what is the impact and all that. So that's where we try to measure with the different kind of tools and all that. Then third comes analyze. Now we got the problem, we could understand the impact and all that. So we analyze how it can be, how we can try to, with all the data is collected, collated, and put in a frame, and then understand from where, what is the root cause. These actually, the Japanese concept, fishbone analysis, we do that, wherein we try to first understand, what is the root cause of this problem, like. So that analysis is done in this analysis phase, like an analyze phase, we say. And then the fourth one is called improve, where now we look for a solution and try to put the solution, like testing that solution, like in that. So the wherein we can understand that whether this has really yielded to the desired level or not. So there we do a lot of improvisation, not one, again better by the day, again another. After a series of that improvement is done, then we put into control. Control is nothing but, it is a kind of implementation. See that it doesn't reoccur. So it is not end of the, the day that, the whole problem is resolved. No, it can't, because problem, one day, today, this is a problem, again, there will be a new problem, and the magnitude of the problem is totally different. So how do we kind of, control the consistency, of that particular solution which we had, like. So this is where the DMAC follows religiously, and sees that, and the Six Sigma actually emphasizes the importance of the data in decision making. One more aspect is on decision making, because data driven decision making is very important, because this can be applied to track and measure progress towards waste reduction goals. So in principle, actually, Six Sigma is to reduce the waste. And in another industrial language, maybe, I don't know, people have heard about Lean Sigma. So Lean Sigma is, putting back, even to minimize the waste. Here in the start, Sigma is only, we are trying to control or lessen on the process and see that waste is not much generated. But in Lean Sigma, we see that waste itself is not generated in the first place. That's what the Japanese people have tried to modulate the Six Sigma, the American philosophy, into their into their book of records as a different, as a Lean Sigma. So wherein they are bringing out a new concept of continuous improvement. I don't know how many of you people have heard about the word called Kaizen. So Kaizen actually is a philosophy from the Japanese, where it is better by the day, like do good or do better. So each day by day, they try to improve. So not they don't just limit the process that today it is complete. No, they still see still better. There's no end, like they go on. So that kind of continuous improvement culture is there in in their philosophy. So they try to adopt this Six Sigma, and it actually is a crucial for sustaining the efforts in waste reduction and also the circular economy initiatives. I'll just share one slide, just so for the betterment of all the audience over here, like just to one second. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here, actually, what even Mr. Pradeep was also mentioning, that there's in the start is a linear economy, where actually what we are doing is that we are taking is the raw material and everything, then we are making, that is a process. We are converting into some semi-finished or finished goods. Then we are using it. After using, we are just dumping it, like landfill or anything like. I would like to even answer that Ayub's question, kind of query. So coming back to the second one. Here, actually, we are into this. The present is what we are already into is the recycling economy, where we are taking it, then we are making, then use, and again little bit of recycle is done, and then again the waste is again generated. But to the little waste is generated. I mean, little in sense, reasonably okay. Now, third one, which actually now whole globe is looking at, they are aiming at, is the minimal take. So take itself, you can see, they're trying to take little bit. That's where actually the sustainable, the product design comes into picture. So wherein we can try to understand that we only what is required, like in a hand to mouth of kind is only just taken, and then with that we make. Then again there is return, reuse, repair, recycle. So go on. This cycle is continuous. So in the process you may have only little bit of waste generated. Like so, this one slide will show actually what is linear economy, recycling economy, and the circular economy, which we are intending to go like. So just I wanted to share with the audience about this. And now coming back to the Six Sigma. And one more thing, what even Pradeep was also mentioning about the standardization. Somebody asked that. So Six Sigma actually, the methodologies will help in standardizing the process so that you ensure the consistency. Once again, I need to. Okay. So here, I'm trying to look at. I mean, am I audible? Am I audible, guys?
Okay. Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. So one more thing, one more aspect of this is about the standardization, which I was trying to discuss, where by ensuring the consistency in waste reduction across different parts of organization, you tend to get that kind of attitude. Like today, people are making it a kind of habit that standardization everywhere. We try to bring the standards. Like so, earlier we used to have the standards as Indian Standards Institution. Now that is actually reframed and it is now renamed as Bureau of Indian Standards. So in which actually for each and every product there is a kind of standard. So it is being developed, and in this process what happens, people tend to have that regulation, like the policy, everything comes into picture. Like, and one important aspect of the Six Sigma I would like to talk about is that a classic example of Boeing, the American company, actually this uses the Six Sigma to reduce waste and improve resource efficiency in its manufacturing operations. Like whenever the flight or is manufactured, during that it has actually used the Six Sigma to reduce the amount of scrap metal generated, because a lot of scrap metal gets generated. So they use the kind of product design, but still there'll be minimum. I told you can't kind of avoid completely 100% wastage. No, it can't. We can't do that. So in that it is generated, and again it is put back into the aircraft process. Aircraft is of utmost safety parameter, because it actually enthralls about the lives of the people. Like so, that's the reason whatever material being used, and it is even tested even 100 times, the pressure or anything. Even you might have just noticed that each and every time the flight lands, and again before takeoff, the pressure is again set up as a fresh like. So that's actually where we just only try to listen about the air hostess people giving the demonstration about the safety, all that. But in the background, what happens is that the pressure is filled, completely, and again it has been tested. After the testing completion is done, then only the ground staff gives the clearance for the flight to take off. So this is very important. In the same manner, actually, where the Six Sigma, actually these people, Boeing people, have utilized it in their manufacturing operations, so that to improve the resource efficiency. One more is about the Walmart. So Walmart actually is using the Six Sigma to reduce waste and improve the environmental process through the supply chain, because Walmart is completely dependent on the supply chain, and they actually using Six Sigma to reduce the amount of packaging used in the product. Because the lot amount of the cost or the waste, the cost is affected, and the waste is generated only with the packaging. Because lot you can see even in a day how many Amazon packages we receive across our domestic people. They actually tend to throw the packaging, because the package should be in such a manner that it should be reusable or recyclable. So that's where actually Walmart tried to do this and to improve the efficiency of its the packaging as well as transport operations. And then one third company I would like to mention about is a 3M. I think you are aware of the 3M, the adhesive, the glue stick company, where actually they try to design the products that are very easier to disassemble, recycle, and reuse. And this particular company has the 3M has being using and even till date using the Six Sigma to design a new line of adhesive tapes, so that are easier to remove from the surfaces, and also you're able to recycle again back. I mean, nobody could have even imagined that. So that's where I just want to talk about the importance of the Six Sigma. So, any questions, please? I would like to take here.
So thanks a lot, Mr. Balaji. Now we are left with a very little time. Now, if there are any queries, more queries anybody has, you can write to me on my email ID. Now, my last question is to Alan. Now, Alan, you have been into product development team. You've been leading it at Gati Recyclers. What new recycling products or technologies have you been involved in developing? And how have they contributed to sustainability and resource conservation? We would want to know. Alan, can you hear us? Can you hear me, Alan?
Please check if he is present. I think he is present. Yeah? I saw him leaving in between.
Okay, he was right here just a minute back. Okay.
And
Now,
he's there.
Yeah, hi, Alan, are you there? I think there is some network problem with him, and we are losing him again and again. In case he comes back, so let me ask one question from Pradeep sir then. So, sir, given your involvement in various national level committees and organizations, what policy changes and regulatory support do you believe fostering a more sustainable approach to waste management and resource utilization in India?
Yeah, thanks again. You see, there are a lot of complex policies there. And somebody told me there are 3,600 policies and rules, regulations. That we are actually, surrounded by too much of policies and frameworks, and so it's a very complex scenario for a person to actually deliver results or to work on a particular innovative idea. It becomes very difficult to look at the regulatory dimensions, look at the funding, look at implementation. So I think we need to simplify everything. So in fact, the government is working a lot on simplifying those policies, and hopefully in a couple of years we will have a lot more simplification than what it is now. But what is also important that in terms of sustainability and ESG, I think all the policies should be in a single platform, and there should be a kind of guidance. It is not only how you make policies, how you make the rules and regulations. There has to be proper guidance also, right? So if you make a policy, then the people need also guidance to and handholding, right? So, for example, on hazardous waste, today if you want to determine the quality of a hazardous waste, you want to know whether the hazardous waste is actually meeting the requirement or not, or whether it is really hazardous waste or not. You need a huge amount of lab testing, which is practically not possible, right? I think it's something like you have to do 100 different type of tests to determine whether the material is hazardous or not, or whether the waste is hazardous or not. And those things need to be simplified, right? Second thing, circularity being such a important area with a lot of value creation, there can be a comprehensive policy, national level policy on circular economy. Today, many countries have this. Like China has a circular economy policy, Italy has, European Union has circular economy policy, but we don't have any comprehensive circular economy policy. So I think ICCE can work on that. Probably if we and ICC plus other organizations, like I am part of this FICCI committee on circular economy for last 7 years, since the beginning of that FICCI National Committee on Circular Economy, and we have written many white papers. We have given a lot of suggestions, and also we have given a lot of notes to the Niti Aayog on circular economy. But we don't have a comprehensive policy. So I think it is time that we have a comprehensive national level policy on circular economy, and Salini with all her amazing connect in Delhi, I think can push for this, and ICC can become a pioneer in
Definitely.
national level circular economy. Yes.
Yes, sir. Our report is out for ICF 2023. I've already seen it, and we are definitely going to present it to different ministries. And let's hope that some good outcome comes out of it. And we are really hopeful for that. Thank you, sir, for your answer. Now, my quick question to Alan. Now, Alan is here, and I hope, Alan, you can hear me now. Alan, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anima?
Yes, sir. Yes, Alan.
Hello?
Last.
Yes.
Yeah. Alan, we are running out of time, and now my last question is to you, is that Tanzania and other African countries are experiencing rapid urbanization. How do you see the role of recycling and waste management evolving to meet the growing demands of urban centers in Africa while maintaining a focus on sustainability?
Yeah, as you said, that there is a rapid urbanization, and also there is, of course, approaches which are taking place in many countries right now, mostly the EPR issues related to issues related to the circular economy. There are a lot of initiatives right now. You can see the country like Kenya is very strong, pushing forward. Rwanda, where I am currently, they are very strong, pushing the agenda of zero waste and sustainability. And the only challenge which is facing Africa now mostly is the market actually, because most of the market of these raw materials like PPT, it's whether it's India, could be Europe, and other parts of the world. Not much consumed locally in Africa. There are few industries like South Africa, maybe Ethiopia, that can consume the PET materials to make other materials and other products. So once there's a global market challenges out there, even the concept of zero waste, the concept of recycling goes faces big problem because waste pickers, they get a lot of little money. The recyclers, they can recover a lot of their investment. There is where now we now emphasize the closing the loop, or the reduction of sourcing, or the designing, redesigning of the processes, of the packages, so that we reduce the waste as much as we can, and even redesign so that the materials, the product that we use, they can be reused, or they can stay longer for even longer use. So I think yes, there is more push, but again we need more stringent laws, not only local laws, national laws, because sometimes the national laws doesn't help. Could be the international laws help, because most of the materials in Africa we import, we are not making them here, so we have to follow some international regulations. But if the international regulations are very strict, and the local laws now accept to abide with the international regulations, but they also like reduce the talking rather than walking the talk, we will reach a point that things are in a better, and I can feel it if I'm in another country. If I come to like Rwanda, I feel it. Things are working. There's a rule of law. There is enforcement of law. There is adaptation to changes. So this is not happening to many countries. So if this is happening to many countries, it will definitely have the very good environment. We can recover materials at source. We can use, we can produce what we need. We can buy what we actually need, not we want. So we can be in a position that is very, very good.
Thank you, Ellen. So there is hope, definitely, and there is a lot of scope that can be done in this field, and pushing the policies, pushing for policies nationally and at international level is also important. So with this, I would want to come to a close of this webinar. Now, it was definitely an insightful discussion we just had, and thanks to all the speakers, Dr. Pradeep, Mr. Balaji, Ms. Padma Shri, and Alan. We are surely enlightened by all your expertise. Let's click a picture together. I would request all the speakers to turn on their camera so that we can click a picture together. Yeah. Padma Shri ma'am, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Sure. So let me just click a picture of all of us together. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now, with this, I want to thank the audience also. You have been really wonderful, and you have given us good task of answering your questions. And I would like to tell you that if there is anything that is unanswered, you can write to me on surbi@icce.com, and the email ID is already provided in the chat box. Our next topic of discussion will be the next webinar. It will be on circular economy and climate change. How can circularity help reduce our carbon footprint? So this webinar will be held in mid of October. The date will be announced soon. We haven't decided the date yet, but keep following our social media pages to receive more information on all the upcoming events. You can also subscribe to our newsletter for the same. The link is there in the chat box again. And to pay the tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his birth anniversary, which is just coming up on 2nd October, which is Monday, our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for a cleanliness campaign on the eve of 1st October. Let's all join hands and realize the dream of Bapu of a clean India. Wish you all a very happy Friday evening and an amazing long weekend ahead. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Surabhi. Thank you, the panel members. Thank you, Shalini and the audience.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Yeah.
For the lovely knowledge sharing.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
एक समय पे काम भी चलता है, आज भी चलता है, जहाँ पे स्टैंडिंग आप रुकते हो वहाँ पे छो जाते हैं।